This is a lesson on Chapter 7. So this is section 7.4. 7.4 is about adding and subtracting. Adding and subtracting rational expressions. Now, I usually call rational expressions algebra fractions so that you can recognize them. So an algebra fraction, and I'll put something that we're going to be doing later, is an algebra fraction is if you have a variable like x in a fraction. So something like this I would consider an algebra fraction because you have an x plus 5 below 1. This specific is going to be something that we graph, but we're going to graph that later. First, we're going to start with operations on algebra fractions, or the official name is rational expressions. So rational expressions. Okay, so what we had learned before is we learned multiplying and dividing. So for multiplying, we had talked about that you do FFC. And for simplifying, we wrote that you have to do FFC. That was in section 7.3. Dividing, we had another way. Try to think if you can remember what we did when we were doing division. So dividing fractions, like 2/3 divided by 4/5. Try to think, well, how did you divide fractions when you were in middle school? So dividing. So dividing, if you remember, you multiply by the reciprocal, and the reciprocal is the flipped over version. So for dividing with algebra fractions, I call that flip FFC. So that was the day before then we were doing this. F stands for factor. F stands for factor. And C stands for cancel. But the other day one of you said cross out. I thought that was a good explanation. So we could use cross out instead of cancel if you want. Okay, so that was previous. That was what we did before. And what we're doing now is we're doing negative FM DAF. So this is a way that you can remember how to do algebra fractions. So the DAF part you do to the top of the fraction, and the FM part you do to the bottom of the fraction.